Hi, Michael Nee, CEO, Interview Mastery. This video is all about how you can take advantage of the situation now that everything happens on video. We're having meetings and interviews. Yes, what used to be face-to-face is now happening on video. So this video that I'm doing right now is how do you take advantage of this situation to put your best foot forward and win a great job or perform your best in that really important meeting. But first, let's take a look at what's the same and what's different. First, what's the same is you still have an interaction between two people, or if it's a conference call, more than one person, more than two people. So you still have communication between two relative strangers. So what's different? Well, not only are your words and attire and questions matter, literally everything, just like I mentioned. When you're on video, you need to consider it a live face-to-face, in-person interview. You have to do everything the same. You gotta dress like you're gonna meet this person face-to-face. Like, I don't have a t-shirt on. I dressed up because this is serious stuff. Second of all, where you look is important. Like if I look down like this, you're gonna think I'm not keeping any eye contact. So we're gonna talk about that. And third, what's behind you matters. We're gonna talk about all that. Now I'm gonna chunk the information into 4 specific topics. First, what do you do before the interview or the meeting? Second, the technology. Third, the setting and you. And last, action. When they're filming a movie, they say lights, camera, action. And what you do during the time that meeting is taking place is very important. First, before the interview. Again, just like I've told you in Interview Mastery, do your research. And you can just go to Interview Mastery and it'll show you specific things that you can do, but I'm going to cover a few of them right now. Now, when you have this video meeting, you want to have the job description in front of you and you're going to read it and you're going to do all that boring stuff beforehand. By using a job description, you can predict the questions they're going to ask you. Second, you want to write down the questions that you expect and you want to summarize your answer and just put it on a Word document and make the font really big because you're going to use it as part of your notes in your teleprompter. And I'll tell you more about that in a minute. You also want to use the 10K technique that I mentioned in Interview Mastery. You also want to research the interviewers and you want to write out your answer to the salary question that the HR person is going to ask you. In fact, when they call you and they want to do an initial screen, that's really the only question that they want to ask you. So practice your response. And I talk a lot about that in Interview Mastery, but you really don't want to give a number. Even though it's illegal to ask you about salary, companies now ask you questions a little different. They say, what's your salary expectations? As compared to before, they asked you things like, what is your salary now? Or what was it most recently? They can't ask that anymore in most states. Next, all these notes that you've taken and you put it in a Word document, you're going to tape them to the wall just behind your computer screen so that you can just look up just briefly and remind yourself of what you had pre-planned in terms of what your responses were to key questions, or to remind yourself of the areas of your experience that you wanted to highlight. And also you're going to, you can tape to the wall your resume because they're going to be looking at that, or you can just put it in right in front of you. You're going to write out ahead of time the questions that you want to ask, maybe 5, 7 questions. Now, instead of when you're face-to-face, you would normally just open up your little folder and ask some pre-planned questions. Well, this time you can just have them on the wall. Looks like you're really prepared. Essentially, you're using these notes as your teleprompter. Also, before the interview, you want to dress the part. You're going to dress up just like it's an in-person live interview. Also, before the interview, you want to shave, do your hair, put on your makeup so you absolutely look your best. Yeah, guys, I'm talking about you too. Have your wife help you with the makeup so you'll look awesome. Second major category, the technology. So I want you to test drive the technology the day before so there's no surprises. So these interviews, they happen over Zoom, Google Hangouts, GoToMeeting, WebEx, Skype, and Microsoft Teams. Whatever the technology is that the company wants to use, make sure you know how to use it and don't wait until the day of. I want you to check it out the day before so there's no surprises. This is just like test driving your commute to the interview the day before so you know how long it's going to take you to get there. I also want you to ask a friend to help you test drive the technology to see how you look. Now that we're all working from home, this is easy to do. One of my favorite video settings is there's this setting on Zoom where in the properties, in the preferences, you can click a little checkbox that says, touch up my appearance. And it actually makes you look a little bit better. So whatever the technology you're using, take a look for some of the video settings, but I can tell you in Zoom, there's one that I really like, touch up my appearance. Next, set the frame. You want to make sure that your face is in the middle of the screen that the interviewers are going to see. How many times have you been on a conference video, Skype or Zoom, and the person's not in the shot, as the movie director would say? You want to make sure that you're sitting up straight and your face is right in the center. I don't want you to be looking down at the screen. Make sure that the video camera, that tiny little thing on the top of your laptop, that your eyes are at the same level. Because if you don't do that, you're going to be looking down and people are going to be looking at the top of your head and they're going to be looking at the ceiling, and it's very distracting. Remember, this is your moment to shine, and you don't want to just overlook something as simple as misusing the technology. One little note though, think about upgrading the camera on your computer. Now, one that I use is from Logitech, and it's about $100, and it's simple to use, and it just clips on the top of your laptop and plugs into the USB port, and it gives you a lot more control over the settings, and you can actually preview how you're going to look and whether the light is correct. So you can do the one that I use, or you can just check online and get yourself a camera that just is simple to use, doesn't cost much money, but it greatly enhances the perception other people have of you when you're on a video call. Third major topic, the setting or the environment that you're in and you. First, most important thing, the light on your face. You need to have lots of light on your face and a very little amount of light behind you. If you have a window behind you, your face is going to look dark. What I did is I waited to record this video for you on a day where it was sunny, because I got two windows right here and the natural light is coming on my face. So the natural light is best. And if you can't have natural light, make sure you just put a lamp or two just to the left or right of your computer so that the light shines on your face. You'll also notice that what's behind me counts. When you're watching me, your eyes every once in a while, you're like, what does he have on his shelf? What's going on behind him? Your interviewers and the other people in your meeting are going to do the same thing. So you need to be very thoughtful about what's behind you. So, take off your music, your favorite band, posters that are back there, or anything that you didn't want somebody to see. So another thing you can do is you can turn on a light behind you that's just subtle. And what that does is it gives people a depth of field. It makes you feel more three-dimensional. And for this video, I put some flowers on the table. You can do little things like that. It's subconscious. It enhances the perception of you. One final point on the setting. You want to minimize the background noise and the possibility of a disruption. If you have an office where you can close the door and you know the kids or the dog isn't going to come running in while you're on your video interview, that's perfect. And finally, the fourth category of information is fairly short. Lights, camera, action. I mentioned earlier at the very beginning that it's important where you look. If you're just using the camera on your laptop, I want you to look at that little green dot at the very top center of the screen. Now, I told you that I use a slightly different video camera, and it has a little white dot on it, and that's what I'm looking at. If I was looking at the people that I'm interviewing with, my eyes would be down here. I think I'm giving great eye contact, but all they're doing is they're just they're watching me, not looking at them. So this is something you need to practice. You need to get used to just looking at that green, or in my case, that white dot. And when you practice your tech with your friend, practice looking at that white dot. And it'll create a much better perception of you over video. So you're gonna be awesome. And now that we're all on video, I want you to be able to take advantage of this situation, because it gives you a lot more flexibility to have your notes right behind the computer where you can quick reference them. And if you just manage the technology, people are gonna know how awesome you are. Good luck in your next meeting or your interview. You're gonna be awesome.